Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Pete Wright, and I am here with Dane Christensen.
How do?
And Megan Strand.
Hey there.
And we are the Naked Marketers. And Dane is on a front porch.
I am.
I think you were on a front porch a couple weeks ago, Peter.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was, but, that was vacation porching. This is just Dane's everyday, lifestyle. Hang out of the porch.
No, you were in a town that sounds
mimosas.
kind of... You were in a town that sounds kind of like a character from the Backyardigans.
Chautauqua.
Right? Isn't that a Backyardigans character?
Wow. I didn't even know the kind of audience that would get that joke. I didn't even know who that
You got
is.
it.
I did get it.
Sorry.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yes, well, now I'm back, and you are on your porch, and Megan, you're in Vantucky, and we're ready to talk about what's going on in the world. The big one, I think, is Facebook Places. Did anybody not see this coming?
I think we've talked about this before.
I think we have.
Yeah,
we're prophetic that way.
Oh, you
Shaman.
mean this is the we totally
This is the
called
Naked Marketers. We could totally called this.
We
I'm
totally
sure
called this segment.
we're the only people that did.
I know, we're so on top of it.
Oh, we totally nailed this one. That's right. Yes, we did totally called this. Although, unfortunately, I just updated my Facebook app on my iPhone, and there is a new Places button, and yet this feature will be available in your region soon. Thank you for your patience. What is up with
really?
that? Somebody tell me what's up with that.
They're rolling it, Peter.
And I'm being rolled.
You're being unrolled.
I should say I have yet to be rolled. Is that what we're saying?
That's what I'm saying, Peter.
Okay. Well, so what does it mean, Megan? Tell us what Places is.
From my understanding, Facebook has launched a location-based aspect of their system so that you can tag and broadcast where you are, similar to a Foursquare or Gowalla. The difference, from my understanding, again, from Facebook Places, and this is a privacy concern apparently, is that not only can you check in to where you are, other people can check you in as well. Similar to being tagged in a photo on Facebook. You know how like somebody will tag a photo, something awful from you from high school or something, and it just shows up in your album.
Right.
Apparently
Whoa.
people can tag you as well.
This sounds like a privacy concern to me.
Well, you can turn it off. All of my Facebook friends and Twitter followers now know how to turn it off because I just broadcast it out. But
which is this was the Boing Boing link. I don't know where it came from, but it's usually Boing Boing that comes up with these very first.
I don't think it was, but yeah.
And yeah, you can't. This is yet another one. I mean, I don't know. Is this another thing where people are just going to get used to it? That the large majority of users of Facebook aren't going to care about the privacy issues? I feel like I've been up in arms about privacy in the past, and nobody else joins me.
I don't think that unless somebody gets... Their examples were interesting. It was a Gawker article that I posted. Their examples were interesting because they basically were like, well, when you're doing something wrong, which is similar to the other privacy issues that on Facebook,
right?
Don't do stupid stuff and post it to Facebook if you don't want people to know about it. But
Eric Schmidt's been saying stuff like that lately. Another story.
Yeah, we need to talk about that too.
Our privacy doesn't exist anymore.
And we should
but people do go some places sometimes that maybe are questionable and don't want to be tagged while they're there.
So yeah,
tell us about those places, Dane.
Well, there's this.
You're actually, I think Peter.
Yeah, I know. We don't have places like that in Utah, but Portland is the North American capital of places you don't want to be tagged being at.
That's actually a good point. You could be sitting at a stoplight and be tagged for a place you don't want to be at in Portland.
It's it's one thing to say like, well, just, be on the up and up and everything's cool.
But I mean, I could see, like, sometimes you back out of social engagements because you want to go have social
there you go
with your husband
instead.
That has
nothing to do with immorality.
That could be bad. Somebody.
There you go.
You in. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of an awkward thing. Like, I thought you said you weren't feeling well.
Exactly. That's awkward.
I don't really know what to make of either of you two people. Now, I'm going to question every event
let's go,
that you
Mr.
back
Upstanding.
out.
Yeah.
Every event that you back out of me on, I'm going to be checking your Facebook Places status updates.
Wait, now my husband said his business trip was supposed to be in New York.
Well, that's the thing. That's
doing
what
Miami?
the article exactly. That was the article's point.
Yeah.
But
So, are
it
you
was-
guys? Now this is sort of a foreshadow is what we call this in the business, because we're going to have our good friends from Yelp on the show today, and they rescheduled for a couple of weeks hence.
Well, foreshadow is more of a literary term than a business term, but yeah.
Well, it's more of a storytelling. I'm going for the storytelling,
but it's perfect
illusion.
Yes.
And so it would have been sure great to be able to have Yelp on while we're talking about Facebook Places, because here, that's a company that jumped on the location sort of check-in status a little bit late after Foursquare had started getting some press about it. And yet, I have to ask, do either of you use any of these, with regularity anymore? I think we've talked about this in the past. Do you?
Yeah, you use it in your friends' living rooms. I don't at all. I think Megan's not in. Am I right?
I use it selectively.
You use it at your favorite coffee shop.
Do you use it on Yelp at all?
No,
not at all.
Nope.
Okay.
And I see, and this is my whole thing with location-based systems, or whatever you want to call them. I am not wedded to any of them, and I'm not going to invest a whole lot of time into one in particular, because I know at the end of the day, one will rise to the top and we'll be like, what was that Foursquare thing? And maybe it's Facebook. I don't know. But so I'm not feeling overly loyal to any of them, because I don't know. I think it'll just be integrated somehow.
Well, loyalty is so passé.
Well, it is loyalty with privacy.
Here's the thing. It's obviously not a technology issue, right? Like Facebook wasn't madly building the code to roll this out because it was so difficult to do. It was obviously, a timing thing. When do we or do we? So I wonder why now. I mean, they could have a year ago done this, or 6 months ago, or 3 months ago. I mean, really, right?
Think part of the issue is I don't know what the technology issues are behind Facebook's sort of delay, but the going into it with some deliberation, I think, is pretty important, and we'll see how it's rolled out. I haven't seen, I still don't have access to it, so I don't know how to comment on it other than to say that there are, Facebook has a lot of people, an order of magnitude more people to consider than any of these other services. And so to be able
that's the power that they wield, is that they've already got the huge audience. Now it's sort of, well, what do we make available to this audience? Whereas, a Foursquare has to come along and say, well, we've got to be different. We're about places, and that's how we get on the map, which they did.
Right.
And then others maybe adopt. I mean, Yelp adopting still isn't a mass audience adopting. I mean, Yelp adopting is more still about building, their user base. But yeah, Facebook has the user base.
Dane just put his call on hold. He did. He put us on hold. That's those are the kinds of things that Dane. There he is. Hey.
Wow, this is lame. That cut me out because somebody added me on Facebook.
He put you on hold.
While I was talking, somebody that I don't know said they added me as a friend, and I had to hit close in order to not be muted.
Yeah.
How weird that we were talking about Facebook.
Wow.
Well, what were you saying? What were you saying? Pick it up.
Okay, so I was just saying that I think that I think I said two things, but one of them was that I think part of Facebook's hold on this whole issue was that I'm sure technically they were ready to go and probably had the same strategy, more or less, but then they had this whole privacy thing that was in the news, and I think it was probably not a good time, after rolling out some other technologies in the last several months, that I'm just guessing they were ready to roll out. Technically, we're ready to roll out Places long before today or this week, but that they've had some other issues they've been dealing with, which I guess kind of surprises me that they then include this tag other people. I mean, it's very social, and if you're like 22 years old and I don't know, I mean, I can see that it's interesting or fun on some level, but I think there's room for debate on whether or not everyone's going to be excited about this.
Yeah, I think that the other issue, sort of the third issue that Facebook has to consider is how to integrate this stuff with the ad platform. I mean, the ad platform we've already talked about in Facebook is really sophisticated. And to be able to make a case that Places is something that businesses can make use of, I think is going to be, it was likely a large challenge, to get rolled out, because it's not going to be on the website where that makes where it makes a whole lot of sense for businesses to advertise. It's about taking their ad platform and making it a mobile ad platform, because it's on phones where this is going to be of any use to anybody. And that means going back to the iPhone app, going back and beefing up the website and Android, and that those were things that had been, they'd been getting a little bit stale. So,
well, I think at the end of the day, if you're a retail location, obviously location-based marketing is not going away. So that's my conclusion.
Well,
well,
good point.
And
that's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, local is, I think, critical to growth in advertising, and in terms of, I mean, it's interesting to think about Facebook and I don't know, all the national implications of somebody with 300 plus million followers. But I think you're right when you talk about being a mom and pop shop in downtown Portland.
Local.
This gets pretty exciting. Yeah, it's
really
interesting.
Does.
It's an interesting
really
point.
All right, so that's with Facebook and local, and now we have to talk about chat roulette.
Yeah, we do. I know. I can't believe we haven't been.
This is
okay. Peter, you do a good job explaining this.
I don't know that I do.
You did a nice job explaining it to Dane.
This is a fantastic campaign for chat roulette, or not for chat roulette. It's a campaign for The Last Exorcism. If you haven't spent any time on chat roulette, probably don't. It's amusing for about 15 seconds, but this is,
if you have children in the home, don't.
Yeah, particularly if you have children in the home. This is a terrific use of the tool for a very clever campaign. The Last Exorcism is a horror film coming out from Lionsgate, coming, I don't know, in the probably October. And what they have is, so you join this person for chat roulette. They pop up, and it's this pretty girl, and she's looking at you sort of flirtatiously looking at you, and she kind of reaches down and she unbuttons the top button of her
You
blouse.
are good at this, Peter. This is great.
She unbuttons the top button of her blouse. She looks up and she giggles just a little bit, and then her eyes roll back in her head, and she begins to cry blood just a little bit, and then she opens her mouth and she screams into the camera, and she turns into, I guess, someone in need of an exorcism, I think is what those are called. What are those people called? Possessed. She becomes possessed. Demonically possessed. And that is, and so you meet up, you're just some unknowing, schmuck who shows up in chat roulette, unwitting schmuck. You're a chat roulette John, I think is what you call those people. And you get with this cute girl and you think, oh my gosh, she's unbuttoning a button on her blouse. And then she turns into a demonically possessed, and then it becomes a tag for the movie, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And what they have on YouTube, the link that Megan will post in the show notes on YouTube is the best of chat roulette reactions, where you see the guys who end up with this trailer. There's one of them that's so brilliant, she turns her head to the side and suddenly breaks her own neck, and you see the bones kind of pop out. It's not terribly safe for work, as it were, but it's very, very clever campaign, and very cheap to create. I mean, well, apart from the neck breaking, I doubt they did that for real. But creating a little video to run in a feed for chat roulette is just a brilliant little micro campaign that I think is a great use of the technology. I'm totally going to see this movie.
I think it's bad. I just think that's so creative and just fabulous.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Funny. Love it.
Absolutely. So, The Last
and
Exorcism.
Sometimes, you guys, when you're doing a podcast from your front porch, you get to watch a cat take a poop in the grass while you're doing that.
Dane said that. That's right.
So
Dane just said that.
It's been a while since I've seen a cat do that, but when you're on your front porch doing a podcast, sometimes that's what happens.
Sometimes you do. That's right. So what else do we have to talk about? I posted this link, Being a Behemoth, how Microsoft and 9 others make their billions. I think this was just an
Was I on that
read.
list? They're not.
Yeah.
Again,
they're not aware of my billions.
The one of the main sort of thesis of this story, it's on Ars Technica, is from John Timmer. Wrote this story. It's a really great article, and it really focuses on the fact that we get so hyped up about the latest and greatest, the Foursquares, the chat roulettes, the Facebooks, but the real fundamental technologies that we use every day to get work done are created by these great big companies who we largely dismiss as kind of antiquated dinosaurs, and so he went and put together a really great write-up of the really big companies and where their business, the bulk of their business comes from and where it doesn't. So, for example, of course, Microsoft is on that list. And it's just a great reminder that most of Microsoft's, billions comes from their Windows and Office divisions. And the stuff that they get the most press for, the digital players, the phones, the Xbox, are largely not profitable and are buoyed. Their losses are buoyed by the profits from these other divisions that are the big dinosaur divisions. And so, that which we talk about the most tends to, again, not be part of, what we use the most every day and where they are most successful, which also is why they tend to be particularly territorial, about those products. So they talk through Microsoft, Apple, IBM, Google, Cisco, Oracle, HP, Intel, Samsung, Qualcomm. We talk about the chips that are inside of the stuff that we do every day. It's, Qualcomm is a big player, and yet, how often do you think about those? So it's a perspective piece, and I think it's really worth reading if you're into how the big companies do what they do.
And if you're talking about cutting edge research and development money spent in North America, you'd probably just rattle off about 95% of the money spent in cutting edge research and development, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly, look at Oracle, HP, and Intel. Right there. It's a really interesting piece, and it's a pretty quick read, so take a look.
Very interesting.
What's next? Is this yours or mine?
Well...
Oh, South by Southwest.
I don't...
Are you annoyed?
Because Dane's not on Twitter, he doesn't know this, but there's a lot of vote for me and my panel going on right now on Twitter, and it's... I'm not overly annoyed, but I can see how it could be annoying really quickly. It's just... I've voted for a couple of panels, but now I'm sort of done.
So you're part of the problem, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm not. I only tweeted out one vote for this panel because then I realized how annoying it was getting very quickly, so I stopped.
I wonder if this.
I didn't want to be part of the problem, Dane.
Is this a
right?
thing?
Be part of the solution.
Is this a panel inflation thing? Is this like South by South? This is kind of a new thing for South by Southwest, right? This
a new reason for me to use Twitter. It sounds like.
Well, you bet it is. But it's a new because there are lots of things to be annoyed with South by Southwest for if you're not going. Most of the buzz about South by Southwest, if you're not going, is annoying. And yet now here's another one. The vote for me, likely voting by people who are not going.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
You're not going to South by Southwest, are you?
I doubt it.
Hey, I'm going to North by Northwest. So
yeah, you are.
The other one that's slightly less known
It didn't quite take off in the same. Yeah. And anyway,
but
so I'm not ruling it out. Is
issue.
what I'm saying.
It was just a passing thing. I just thought we could talk about quickly.
Okay. Well,
do so.
Have we done that?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
Moving on.
What is this Honest Tea thing?
So, Honest Tea, and I don't really know how I feel about this, but Honest Tea I don't know, I think it's over for now. They rolled out a campaign to determine just how honest citizens of various cities around the country were. So what they did was set up these unmanned kiosks of tea, bottled tea, in 7 cities from San Fran to Boston to Atlanta. And they put up a sign that said $1 per bottle on the honor system. And they had these hidden cameras to see who would pay for the tea on the honor system and who would just swipe it. So
wait, quick vote. Who, Peter?
Or are we talking about what, like a percentage?
No, I just want to know whether
Which
you would
city?
swipe it or pay.
I would pay.
Uh-huh.
What?
I think I would too. But
If
how
I had
much
a
would you
dollar
pay?
to pay.
Was this like
it's like
just,
$1.
did they
It
put
says
a price
$1
on?
per bottle. Yeah, $1 per bottle, which
Yeah.
is actually probably cheaper than it is in the store.
So would you pay for yours, but like take one for your kids for free? Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
It said $1 per bottle, team.
Oh.
So anyway, it
Not
was
$1 per family.
For a very large
Because you could
family.
say you misread that. Anyway, keep going.
So anyway, so it turns out that the marketing director at Honest Tea said, we want to challenge folks to consider how honest we are as a society. And so far, the results have been very encouraging. So the lowest out of these cities that they did this little experiment in, the lowest was LA. 25% of the people swiped the bottle.
We should have voted on that before she said, because that, okay.
Well,
LA.
and so like the headline, it's like Midwesterners aren't as honest as you think. So in Chicago,
I would have thought so.
only 78% of people paid. Let's see, the highest was tied, Boston 93.3 and DC at 93%.
DC?
So, yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
In large cities, though, it's more of a
It's 'cause the
neighborhood thing,
politicians
isn't it?
There. I don't know. So anyway, I just I want to know what you guys think of this campaign.
I think that Megan, you have on this show brought up 2 of the most clever, like spot on tie-in campaigns, matching the product name, whatever, with sort of,
honesty.
Yeah, honesty doing. I think that's so smart. I'm so curious who came up with that idea, because I'm just, wow, way to go, honesty. That's really interesting that they would sort of tie in like a little interesting survey like that. That's going to catch. There's been so much boring news lately, so it's a great time to do. There really has. I've been thinking that for the last week. But anyway, I think that's so brilliant. I'm so impressed. I think you caught 2 here that I'm like, wow, I'm not thinking hard enough. I'm not thinking fast enough. These are great ideas.
You don't think it's impressive?
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I think it is impressive. I think they didn't spend a ton of money, and I think they got a ton of press, and I think it's smart.
Okay,
Megan?
it's smart from that perspective. I feel like it's a little smarmy. I don't.
Of course it is.
So
Give me
it's
a break.
wait, so
it's not
it's smart
scientific.
It's smart from what perspective? It's smart from the perspective
not
of
academically
marketing
smart.
and advertising.
Well, right, yeah, they're getting good press, and that's the
Yes.
point. And
Isn't
if they
that
didn't
the
spend a
point?
lot of money, yes, that is the point. That's what I'm saying. But I don't like it personally.
Oh, I think it's brilliant. I'm so proud of them. It took them
Now
way
he's
too long to
proud.
come up with that.
Your defiance to your own story, Megan, has made Dane proud
Yeah, that's true.
of the honesty people.
I bring up stories. I don't have to like them all. I mean, unlike the
This is like you know what it is.
the
It's
soap
like your,
campaign in Brazil.
I
Like,
love I
what?
love independent booksellers, but really I shop at Amazon.
What?
You know, that's the
No, it's not. It's so not the same.
I don't really want you to go out of business, but I'm not going to actively help you stay in business.
It's not the same. There are different ways to stay in business that can be ethical. Is the point?
And you think
Oh,
honesty
this
is
is
not.
this is not bridging an ethical gap. Hold on here. This may not be academically accurate, but it's unethical. What?
I think it's a little smarmy. I don't like it.
Smarmy,
And
yes.
unlike the thing where they're putting GPS things in people's soapboxes,
Which may in fact be criminal.
which I think I
Which
find
may
that
lose a life or two.
at least it's funny.
That
This
may
is
have a
not
human
funny.
toll. That particular campaign.
This one is smarmy, but no one will lose their lives.
You don't know that.
Honestly,
Uh,
get it? Honestly,
Yeah, I was
honesty.
just going to say that was a
funny.
nice time, Dave.
wow.
So those
I love honor boxes in general. I like any honor box
So
experiment.
You like
The whole concept of the honor
Pandora-
box.
the Pandora nonprofit.
Every time I see an
restaurant
honor
thing.
box like model in real life, I think that's funny.
I think,
Like-
how cute.
Like, I don't know, the honor box. Give if you want. That's funny to me.
But do you find yourself giving?
Give it if you want. That's funny to me. Dave
I don't
said
know.
that.
I paid for my Radiohead Rainbows album.
I
I
did
think
too.
I paid $5. I think I can't remember though. I might have paid 10. I'm not sure,
You didn't pay.
but I paid. I don't remember.
Did you think that was funny?
It's either 5 or 10.
Okay.
In a way, yes. In a way, yes.
Are you a Pandora user?
Yeah. Do they want me to pay them too? I thought they wanted free. I don't. But I use it sometimes. Not enough to pay. Do they really?
I use it
money?
all the time, and I paid.
I didn't know they wanted my money.
Well,
I didn't.
Now
catch
that you do, I hope that changes your thinking, because this is another terrific service. I love the honor box too, if it's used.
But it's just funny.
I
Dave
love
just
it.
thinks it's funny.
Hey, man, I'm not always like. I just like to think like who doesn't and who does and who pays more because they're concerned about those who don't, and they just have this like crazy guilt conscience and like I want to meet the people who pay twice as much because they know there are people who don't pay. That's just like it gets my brain thinking about all that kind of stuff. That's all.
I think I'm more along the lines of those people. Now, unlike Megan, who wouldn't take the tea, nor would she pay, but she would stand there and tell people how smarmy the table is.
Yeah, she'd be like, "What's up with this company? They're putting you guys in this moral predicament.
I don't know.
You guys shouldn't have to make moral judgments like this. You guys shouldn't be conflicted and tempted."
Don't drink
I
the
don't know
honest
who you
tea.
people think I am. I really.
Norma Ray.
You have a warped opinion of who I am.
Which is fine.
All right. Well, let's talk. Let's move on from this honest argument
discussion.
and talk about. Do you guys have any tools? Because I have a tool.
Let's hear your.
You don't have a tool? Oh, you do have a
I
tool.
He does.
Do you know what? You know what I find I do? I am doing often for my clients. Would you like to know?
Please.
Documentation.
Wow, that's riveting.
I know, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Meaning what?
It is the most terrible part of the job when you create something for someone and then you have to teach them how to use it. And that part, when I first started years back, I would sit down with people and say, "This is how you do it." And then I would go away and they would promptly forget. And so I started making wee notes. Scratch notes on napkins, and I would hand napkins over to people and say, "Here's your wee note napkin." And
Now, how do you spell "we"? I don't get it.
2 E's. And then it means small in the mother tongue.
Okay.
And then I would start keeping notes in a text editor, and I would do that, but none of it really captures it. And finally, I came across Screen Steps from Blue Mango, which is a terrific documentation tool that allows you to take screenshots, put them right into a manual that you're creating, document the manual, put little numbers saying 1, 2, 3 all over your image, and then document what the numbers mean for guidance, and then publish entire manuals by chapter in PDF or HTML or print, or publish them to a website with an uploader built right in, so you have this perfect web documentation, and you manage it all within Screen Steps. It is a really terrific application that I use all the time, and it's one of those that just sort of becomes invisible. When you use it enough, you forget you use it.
So that's very, very cool. So what is it? Just screenshots, or can you add text to screenshot? Like what are my options as far as?
Yeah, you can add text, you can add arrows and widgets and lines, but it really is designed for print documentation. So it's not designed for doing screencasts like movies.
Right.
It really is designed for
it's just like step 1, step 2, step 3.
Exactly. It makes the process of creating those things very, very easy.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's terrific. It's available for Windows or Mac, and that's pretty rare that I actually have tools that are cross-platform. and so it is definitely worth checking out. They did a great job. So bluemangolearning.com is the website.
Cool.
So you use your bi-platform tool. I'm glad you put that tool to use. You have a lot of tools.
I do.
Great tools.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's the tool master.
So you have clients that when you explain to them how to use technical things, they struggle.
Yeah.
That's part of that.
Why?
I just experience that so often, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
I always underestimate or overestimate, I guess.
Well, it's such a challenge when you exist so closely to a project, and this is the same thing with any, creative campaign, right? I mean, you exist so closely to a message or to a tool or to a, copy or to a design that as soon as you sit down, you expect people to have the same sort of base level of understanding as you do, and it's rarely the case.
I know. I find that.
Yeah.
So glad to hear.
Tools like this help.
I'm going to have to check that one out.
Yeah,
I love the fact that you are so aware of these great little time-saving devices and efficiency utilities.
Well, thank you, Dave.
It helps me. I hope it helps others. It helps me.
Good.
I'm loving Mars Edit, by the way.
Excellent.
And so are my clients.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that too. Let's. Do we have anything else to talk about today? Really?
Yep.
Really?
I was just going to see how long we could go.
I know it became a game. It's like a millisecond game.
Wow.
Silence is another funny thing. Honor boxes and silence. They're just hilarious.
They're a mark of professional broadcasting. That's what silence is. When you hear silence, man, these people know how to broadcast.
You know where I learned that?
And we're done. No. Dane, tell me where you learned it, and B, where people should go to find you.
I learned about broadcasting professionalism on KHQN, The Sounds of Transcendence, 1280 AM in Utah County, a Hare Krishna radio station where I used to be a DJ for 1 hour a week on Saturdays. And that was the number one rule, other than all songs should relate to vegetarianism and have nothing to do with sex. Never have radio silence. So I learned that as a young teenager DJing on a Hare Krishna radio station. Also, I can be found at strike10media.com. And contrary to Megan's pronouncement there, I actually am using Mars Edit, which populates through Hootsuite to both my Facebook page, Strike10Media on Facebook, and Twitter, Altadane. You can find me in both places. You're going to see the same message.
Maybe I'm not following you. Maybe that's my problem.
See? I know. Misinformation campaign.
Insult, meet injury. That's great.
But, I accept it because it's fun.
And Megan, where would people find you?
I hang out on Twitter at Megan Strand, or at my website and blog at Encouraged, which is INCOURAGED.
Excellent. And I'm at fifthandmain.com or on the Twitters at Pete Wright. And you can find out more about the show at thenakedmarketers.com. And if you're listening to the show on the web, make sure you click that subscribe in iTunes button right there. See it? Right there. That will take you to iTunes and allow you to subscribe for free so you can get every single episode of The Naked Marketers as it comes out live automatically on your internet-connected device. And that is all I think we have to say about that. Thank you all so much for listening to this, whatever you want to call it this week. You go ahead and call it that, because that's what you just heard. And we will be back with you next week on another episode of The Naked Marketers.